episode going. First time guest Trevor Lay joining us. Man, he is ready to talk some sports, ready to talk about the Dak contract especially. We got some polls coming at you right now. We got Martin Garcia on 2K right now. Martin, how's that game going? You're in overtime, right?
Yeah, overtime, game 1 of the first round. Boston Heat, I'm up by 7, 2 minutes left.
Yeah, he's up by 7 in overtime. It's over, man. He's as clutch as the Warriors in overtime. But let me tell you, Martin, I'm going to sink you in 2K when we play because I got the step back three going. Step back three. This guy's got me on Madden, but 2K, I'll definitely check him up. Trevor, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, my name's Trevor Lay. Been a big-time fan of Stephen Wang's big hot takes. Been watching sports all my life. Originally a Lakers fan, but now a Warriors fan. Because I don't care if I'm a bandwagon. I'm just going to root for the home team. And I'm really excited to talk about Dak's contract. It's really been the joke of the NFL, honestly, for the past year. We've got Jerry Jones, who's famous for overpaying literally everybody on the Cowboys. And all of a sudden, when it comes to paying your quarterback, your most important position in the NFL, you just decide not to, bring up the money truck with Dak. I mean, he's had to fight all year long. And him and his agent, I forget his name, but they're asking for upwards of $40 million per year for 5 years. And on the 5th year, they're asking for $45 million if Dak has to play the 5th year.
Jesus, man.
Dak really just wants to play for 4 years, but the Cowboys want 5. So Dak's throwing out there, maybe play that 5th year for $45 million. But I'm not seeing it. The statistics show if you pay more than 14% of your payroll to a quarterback, it's not going to turn out very well. Even if Dak outperformed his original rookie contract, I just don't see Jerry Jones paying him upwards of $40 million a year. It's too much. Cowboy fans are going to not have a good team if that happens.
Well, we kind of know your take on the Dak controversy and that contract situation. I mean, it's a kind of a situation where I feel like he deserves to get paid. I don't know if the Cowboys should pay him that, though. I think it's really simple. What you do is you franchise tag the dude, right? And, if he doesn't want to show up to practice, you start Andy Dalton. But the bottom line is you see what you have in Dak, right? If he can get you to the conference finals or if he could get you out of the second round, right, then you got the right person. Even if he gets you to the second round, I think it could warrant it. But if he goes like 7 and 9 or 8 and 8, you got your answer right there. Then he's not your franchise guy. You got so many other options, including maybe trading up to get Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, or maybe you could make Andy Dalton your guy. Isaiah actually proposed that Nick Mullins get traded to the Cowboys to go start for them and kind of get rid of Dak because he's going to be on a better value deal. Trevor, what are your thoughts of Nick Mullins? I mean, have you even heard of the guy?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then so the take for Ryan and Isaiah and me, we all covered this situation. Isaiah wants them to get Nick Mullins, go out there and get him, thinks Nick Mullins is a real baller. Ryan is saying that, Dak's probably going to get the money somewhere, but doesn't really think he deserves it. I think he deserves it, and I think he's going to get it. I just don't know if it's with the Cowboys. And then we got Martin over here. Martin, how's that 2K game going over there? You finished yet?
20 seconds left, up by 5. I'm getting fouled. So
all right. Yeah. Good, man. Just talk through the free throws. Talk to me, man. What do you think about the Dak Prescott contract situation? Number 1, is he going to get the contract? And number 2, does he deserve it?
I think he'll get the contract by the Cowboys. I think he will. Does he deserve it? Probably not. Has he taken Super Bowl yet? Nope. And they have a good team every year, it looks like. He's not a Patrick Mahomes, man. Only Mahomes deserves that contract at the time being. It's simple as that.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's a lot of...
If you're fine being mediocre, go ahead, sign him.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I mean, like, a lot of people, they say, like, almost no player deserves $40 million per year. Like, no player is worth that much. And it's tough, though, because the market out there, eventually all of these guys, eventually all of them are going to have to get paid that much. And the 45 mil a year, I understand it because the TV deal coming in 2022 or 2024 or whatever, in that final potential year for Dak's contract will make it so that the market might make it so that 45 mil is not even that much. But, we're going to move on to Nick Wright's NFC standings prediction. So I'll go ahead and share my screen on that. And so there we go. We got the standings prediction. Cowboys at 11-5, Bears at 12-4, Saints at 11-5, Seahawks at 12-4. Those are your division winners. I'm going to start with Isaiah. What are your thoughts on these predictions?
First of all, before I get into Nick Wright's predictions, I just got to say, Steven, I'm very disappointed in you for not introducing me and Ryan, leaving us out, man. Just feel so sad, but
we got a lot of guests on today. I'm just trying to get through the topics quick, Got a lot of topics, a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, including a poll, guys. Check it out. We got best point guard out of these three, because these three names are brought up a lot in point guard discussions, which is Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook, and Damian Lillard. Go ahead and vote in that poll. But, I'm trying to get through the topics. We're trying to get to the top 5 point guards in the NBA for our final topic. So, apologies for not introducing you. And you're the GOAT at attracting some of these guests, man.
hey, man, it's all good. I mean, I'm just going to get revenge on you for the disrespect that you showed me by just continually beat you down in sports debating like I've been like the last 37 episodes. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I just got to tell you guys something. This guy is wearing a black shirt right now because he knows that this is his funeral.
It's a green shirt, by the way.
Oh, whatever. I mean, it's a dark color. He knows that this is his funeral. He knows that he's done. He knows that I'm going to go 37-2 over him and Ryan. But yeah, here's my thoughts on the Nick Wright thing. You know how I roasted Nick Wright so bad on Friday for his absolutely atrocious, laughable AFC predictions, in which he had the Denver Broncos, a team that went 7-9 with no talent, going 3-13. Well, Nick Wright, I got something else I got to say to you, man. Nick Wright, if you're listening, stay off the weed.
Oh, there goes the shouting.
Smith says, let's look at your division predictions right now. The East, I got no problems. Cowboys 11-5. I see it that way. Eagles 9-7, Redskins 4-12, Giants 2-14. The East, I agree with you on everything. The North, the Bears at 12-4. That's insane, considering that Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky are, like, no disrespect to them. They can play. Nick Foles can play. But when Nick Foles starts a whole 16-game season, the guy is a scrub. So I'm not going to even talk about that Bears thing. I'm going to let Steven and Ryan and Trevor take that. The Packers 12-4, Vikings at 8-8 is what I like, because you guys know me. Kirk Cousins, he is nowhere near a top 10 quarterback like this guy says. Kirk Cousins
is a top 10 quarterback, Isaiah, and he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo and shitty ass Nick Mullins.
You mean bottom 10 quarterback? He's a bottom 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, get out of here, man. No way.
He's putting up these inflated stats.
I agree.
He has great weapons around him. I mean, I could seriously go in under center and I could throw some few passes and look like a top 10 quarterback.
I agree with
that. Lions at 5-11. I'm interested to see how my guy Ryan takes that one, because I know he's a huge Matthew Stafford fan, so I know he's going to be hot as that one. The one that I want to go to is the Buccaneers at 8-8. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season were 7-9. All right, they were 7-9 with Jameis Winston leading the league in interceptions. He threw like 30 interceptions, 30 touchdowns. The guy won Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers this offseason, they got the GOAT, Tom Brady, to come in. Tom Brady, I know he had a terrible year last year by Tom Brady's standards. That's because he had no weapons. Bill Belichick was like, hey, Tom, I know you're so great and stuff. I'm not going to give you anything. I'm just going to take people from the grocery stores and restaurants, cooks and cashiers to be your weapons. That's how pathetic Tom Brady's weapons were. I think that he has way better weapons than Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And now you also add in Rob Gronkowski, who before his retirement was considered one of the best tight ends in the NFL. That's just on offense. Defensively, the Buccaneers, they franchise tag Shaquille Barrett, who broke out last season, 19 sacks. I mean, he's going to continue to get even better. Jason Pierre-Paul, we know what a beast he is. You've got the Ndamukong Suh back. Vita V, that defensive line is going to be a beast. And then you have the cornerbacks. I don't think that the reason why the defense was so bad last season, I don't think it's all on the defense. I think it's because Jameis Winston put them in awful position with his interceptions. You know Tom Brady is not going to let that happen. I believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Nick Wright, absolutely insane. This guy needs to be drug tested immediately. The Buccaneers are going to go 12-4. They're going to win the NFC South, and just this guy's just laughable, man. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, about the Vikings take, and I think you might find this a bit surprising, but I don't hate it. I understand that they have really good offensive pieces around Kirk Cousins, who is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, by the way. I'm going to keep qualifying him as that because Isaiah, we're going to go back and forth on this forever. But I believe he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and they got really good weapons. But defensively, the Vikings have been dropping off ever since Case Keenum was their starter in the 2018 season. And, one thing is that the reason why there are so many Super Bowl hangovers, as Ryan mentions, is that it's not just the Super Bowl teams that have hangovers. Every year you have teams that have made the playoffs in the previous year and they just happen to fall off the next year. It could be injuries. It could be, different defensive schemes between their rivals. It could be their rivals maybe acquiring some new pieces to really compete with them well. And so could I see the Vikings going 8-8? It's pretty realistic in my opinion, but I personally see them going 10-6. 8-8 would not shock me. Knowing my Minnesota Vikings, we're kind of a cursed sports states a little bit. And, we're like a greater version of Cleveland in that sense. And as far as the other predictions, Seattle at 12-4 is a little high, but they're actually my pick to reach the Super Bowl from the NFC. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. The Packers at 12-4, very, very surprising. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that many pieces around him, I think. And then the Bears at 12-4 is absolutely insane. I mean, it has to be that Nick Wright got paid out by Nick Foles. Like he bought him maybe like 50 Apple Watches in a snowmobile. I don't know what's going on. There must be some bribery involved for him to put the Bears at 12-4. I get that they got Nick Foles, but Nick Foles is shown to be a one-hit wonder, kind of a slump and slide kind of quarterback. Sometimes he'll go off one season, the next season he's disappeared. He doesn't have the consistency of a franchise starter. I understand he's won a Super Bowl before, but that's not the same as a 16-game season rotation. It's not the same as going 16 games in the regular season and then playing the playoffs afterwards. This guy's never had to play a full season, so I don't trust the Bears to go 12-4. I'm going to get Trevor's thoughts on these standings predictions.
Hey, Trevor, before you go, I just have something I need to say to Steven's point about the Seahawks. 12-4, you said it was a bit high, but I could definitely see it considering the fact that the NFC West is playing the NFC East, and also they're playing the NFC East and the AFC East, which this year is going to be an absolute garbage fest. So I could definitely see it with the weak schedules that they have. Go ahead, Trevor.
Well, I'm just going to start with the West. From what I see, we got Niners at second place with 11 wins. I think they're actually going to place higher than probably higher than the Seahawks, because last time I checked, they were in the Super Bowl last year despite losing to Patrick Mahomes, maybe possibly the next upcoming GOAT. But from what I hear, the 49ers, apparently they believe in themselves so much, they decided to still have Lil Wayne come over and do a concert for them after they lost to the Super Bowl, just because they're so confident they'd be back next year. I got Niners at 12-13 wins.
Wow.
Next year.
I mean, they do have a friendly schedule for sure.
And Rams, yeah, I just think Goff got paid a little bit too early, a little too much. I don't see them doing as well. Their trip to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, I think, was a fluke. Cardinals, I think Kyle Murray is an up-and-coming quarterback, but not that guy yet. I still don't see him leading his team to winning average yet. As far as the South is concerned, I kind of like the standings except for the Bucks. I know Tom Brady's got surrounded by a lot of good weapons and finally has a head coach he can have fun with, and that's the reason why he left the Patriots. Sometimes when you're with someone for too long, it's not fun anymore. Panthers, yeah, they just kicked Cam Newton out, and now they got a little quarterback situation going on there. So 3-13 sounds pretty accurate to me, I gotta say. Bears and Packers at the top of the North. I think Aaron Rodgers is starting to fall off a little bit. The Packers picked up Jordan Love and was willing to sacrifice some of their team to acquire that pick. It's not looking good for Aaron Rodgers because apparently they don't believe in him. I don't really see them going 12-4 with all this drama they got going on and this whole quarterback controversy. Who knows? Jordan Love might play next year. Aaron Rodgers might even leave. Vikings, I know they're Steven's team and all, but
Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback.
8-8
No
is
one's
pretty
lying.
good. Kirk Cousins still the quarterback, right?
Yep. Yes, he
Sadly.
is.
You know what they say about Kirk? We doubt his ability to win big games. We're still waiting on that. We know he's the noob slayer. Him and Dak Prescott really got a thing for those noobs. But when it comes to playing a real team, there's a big question in the air. I don't know if he's ready for that
He
yet.
does have that big time win against the Saints from this season.
I was about to say, did the Saints stop being a good team? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Saints are pretty good and have been pretty good the last 3 years. And Kirk Cousins made clutch plays to beat them.
They're known to choke now, though.
There's another argument that you could make about that Saints Vikings game where the Saints just didn't show up. And
Oh my God!
I agree with Isaiah on this one.
I mean,
The
you
Saints
just
have been
sound
picking
salty,
the
man.
playoffs.
You just sound like you got
let's talk about how
salted
the
nuts.
Vikings robbed the Saints and Drew Brees with that horrendous defensive play.
Yep.
Freaking missed the tackle and allow Stephon Diggs to catch
Woo!
this crazy pass to end the game. And I'm pretty sure Drew Brees lost in the next year in the playoffs after that.
Yeah, on the Rams' defensive
non-call.
pass interference, no
The
call.
non-call. So I think the Saints are a great team. I just think the refs aren't on their side.
They're like the Ohio State Buckeyes of the NFL. Every year, there's
Also,
something
Drew
that just
Brees
kind of
can't
screws
play
them over.
defense, so he can't save. He can't save every play. He doesn't play defense.
Yeah,
But
okay, that makes
LaShawn-
sense.
Lattimore plays defense. Cam Jordan plays defense. And Davis, their all-pro linebacker, plays defense. They've got a good defense. Don't get that wrong. I mean, yes, Drew Brees isn't playing defense, but they have plenty of great players.
Fair.
All I ask is for that one guy not to mess up and have that missed tackle. It only takes one guy, no matter how good your defense is.
That is true.
Yeah,
only
I mean,
takes
that's
one
the
missed tackle.
pressure cooker of NFL games and the one-game elimination system. But Trevor, I want to get your thoughts on where would you rate Jimmy G and Kirk Cousins as a quarterback? Where would you rank those two?
I would say he's a bit overrated. The first thing people talk about Jimmy, as far as his pros are concerned, are really his winning record. I think he started his first 7 or 8 starts with the Niners. I believe he went perfect. I think he won every single game, and he got a lot of credit for that, and he obviously got paid a lot of money for that. But his play on the field, I think he's a good passer and everything, but I just think the Niners are a good team without Jimmy, and that's why they ran the ball so much in the playoffs. They know they can win without Jimmy throwing up big numbers.
Let me tell you this. If Kirk Cousins were on the Niners, they would win the Super Bowl because he would have made that throw to Emmanuel Sanders. The throw that
I would
Jimmy
probably
G
agree with
missed.
that. That was a big miss. Emmanuel Sanders was open, and I think Jimmy threw it like 2 to 5 yards too deep.
Yeah, it's a tragic circumstance for sure. But I want to get Ryan's take on this whole NFC standings situation as well.
All right, I'm gonna go from the East to the West. So in the
Sounds
East,
good.
Giants, Redskins, they won't matter. They may win 7 games at most between the two of them. So let's just forget about them. Now, at the top of the East, I think the Eagles are a much better team than the Cowboys. I like their offensive line more. I even like their quarterback more when healthy, which has been the big problem for Carson Wentz in his career, hence why they went out and got Hurts in the draft. And I really like that defense as well. I mean, last year they won 7 or 9 games without a wide receiver. They had like 2 wide receivers on the roster by the end of the year. They got decimated by injuries and still made the playoffs. But even after saying all that, I think the Cowboys are going to win the East for this very reason. There has not been a repeat champion in the NFC East since, I believe, 2003. It's a
Wow.
cursed division where you cannot win it 2 years in a row. So even if you're the best team like the Eagles, you'll somehow not win it just because it's the NFC East. So I think the Cowboys will win. I think they win with a 10-6 or 9-7 record. They won't win 11 games. They don't have enough depth on defense for that.
And plus, let's be real here. Carson Wentz has a more fragile body than Derrick Rose and Isaiah Young combined. This guy is hurt and in the infirmary every single season. And I don't mean to disrespect him like that, but that's just stating facts. If this guy can't stay healthy, how the heck are you going to beat these teams in the regular season, let alone in the playoffs? I just don't see the Eagles going anywhere in these next couple of years.
Well, I completely agree with that. And that's been the problem with Wentz. He just can't stay healthy. But when fully healthy, I think he
And that's
is
a big
maybe 1 or
if.
2 spots above Dak in terms of overall QB rankings. So, like in that 15 to 10 range or somewhere between 20 and 11. That's where those two rank. But moving on to the NFC North. I agree with you. The Bears must have sent Nick Wright a fat check. And I mean a
1,000
very fat
Rolex
check.
watches. That's what they sent.
Or that. I mean, if you look at the picture of Nick Wright we have on screen, if you look close enough, there's probably a shirt underneath his buttoned-up shirt that says, I heart Nick Foles, because I don't understand how you could put the Bears being 12-4. Yes, they have a good defense, but when you have to defend the opposing team at the 50-yard line almost every single series because the offense either can't move the ball or throws it away, it's kind of hard to be a good defense that leads to productive games. And also, as was brought up, they have a bit of a QB controversy. And this brings me back to one of my favorite sayings. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. So if there's a QB competition, you just straight up don't have a quarterback. That's normally how this works in the NFL.
I would just say they straight up don't have a quarterback anyway. Mitch Trubisky is just straight up trash. And one of my friends at Ohio State, Mike Ritz, keeps defending the hell out of the dude. And I found out why. It's because they went to the same high school. Literally, the only people defending Mitch Trubisky at this point are either people who went to Duke or people who just, straight up, or UNC. People who went to UNC or people who just straight up went to high school with them. That's it.
Steven, don't disrespect Mitchell Trubisky like that, man. The guy did go to a Pro Bowl his rookie year. Or not his rookie, his second
year. I just gave him proper respect, man. I said there are some people who still believe in him.
I'm not one of those people. I think the Bears finished last. So instead of first, they should be last. So just completely flip that. And the winner of the NFC North, this is going to surprise you guys, but I'm going with the Detroit Lions. Look, I think Matthew Stafford's a top 5 quarterback. And to counteract Isaiah's point, I'm not even a fan of his. Like, I don't root for him, but I just look at the numbers he put up last year. He was on pace for 37 touchdowns and 8 interceptions with 4,800 yards. He was balling out before he got hurt last year. And if he can stay healthy a full year, and the Lions have made improvements, I think they can win the division because I see the Packers and Vikings taking a step back. Vikings lost some key pieces on defense and Diggs. And I know Jefferson's looking like a great prospect.
LSU guys, national champions.
But
shout out to Trevor's dad's school.
Hell yeah.
LSU, definitely one of the best teams I've ever seen. Props to LSU and props to Jefferson. But to ask him as a rookie to come in and give them Diggs production, I don't see that in the first year. So they'll take a step back. The Packers, they had one of the worst off seasons in the entire NFL. They won a lot of close games last year, and I don't predict them to do the same. Aaron Rodgers will continue to regress, and I have them finishing closer to 8-8. It'll be a battle between the Packers and the Vikings to see who will get that second spot in the AFC or NFC North and potentially a playoffs. But moving on to the South, not much to say there. Saints at 1, that's easy. I agree with Bucks at 8-8. Everyone's saying they improved greatly with Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's 43 years old, doesn't offer the same deep threat, the downfield throwing. I know he is efficient when he does, but if he does that consistently, his arm will wear out and he just won't be the same by the end of the year. So I think that lack of explosiveness on a consistent basis will hurt the Bucks more than people realize. And I still don't trust that defense. I think their pass defense just isn't good. And I could see an 8-8, 9-7 records. So moving on to the West, I think the 49ers will win the West, but I think they'll win it by a 9-7 records. I think this division as a whole takes a major step back. The 49ers went to the Super Bowl, and they are a good team, but the Super Bowl hangover is real. And if this was most years, 9-7 probably wouldn't get them in the playoffs, but I see the division going down so much that they'll just win their division. And then at 2, I have the Cardinals. They made major improvements. I absolutely love the drafting of Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. And yeah, I think that'll be huge for their defense. They'll show massive improvements in that area. And Kyler Murray, I think, is a dark horse MVP candidate, and he could get that team to an 8-8, 9-7 record and be right there in playoff contention. I agree with the Rams taking a step back, maybe not that big a step back. But the big surprise is I don't see the Seahawks winning the division, going 12 wins. I actually see the Seahawks straight up missing the playoffs entirely.
Oh, come on. This is one of the
Bam!
clutchest teams in the
13-3,
NFL. Last
man.
year had the best record in games decided by one possession.
Thank you for bringing up that point. And yes, they were unusually good. They were otherworldly good in those games. But if you look at it, teams that do absurdly good in that statistic, like 8-1, which I believe the Seahawks were, they regressed to the mean the following year. And I think that will happen to the Seahawks, and they'll lose like 4 games from that alone. And couple that with the fact that they cut one of their centers and guards on an already below average offensive line. Also, the fact that they lost Clowney or could lose Clowney. He might come back. I'm hearing it's unlikely. And if they lose Clowney, they had the second worst pressure rate in the NFL last year. The only team worse than them was the Dolphins, and they were like actively tanking. At least the management was trying to get them to tank. The coaching staff turned it around, and good on them. But yeah, I just don't like this Seahawks team. Russell Wilson is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a top 2 quarterback, but
Yes.
the offensive line isn't going to be good next year, as it really never is. And I think that defense will just fail them even more than they did last year. They didn't do much to address the fact that they don't get after the quarterback. And that is like one of the most vital aspects of a defense in today's NFL. And they'll regress the mean in terms of winning close games, 1-possession games. I'm looking at a statistic right now that if last year at week 16, you flip the results of 1-possession games, the Seahawks would have been 3-12 at week 16 last year. That is staggering. That just shows you how close they could have been to just being a terrible team last year if they just didn't do unworldly goods in 1-possession games. They're a bad team, and I think that could come back to haunt them because You can't be that good in one possession games consistently year to year to year. And yeah, to sum it up, I think the Seahawks take a major step back. They just need to aggressively improve both lines of scrimmage. They need to improve their offensive line and defensive line. And I haven't seen enough in those two areas to have faith in them.
Yeah, man.
Those are fair points for sure. I think it'll be tough to continue Seattle's production in close games. We look at the 2015 Panthers to the 2016 Panthers. That was the big issue. In 2015, they went 15-1 because they won a lot of these games by about 3 to 7 points on final drives by Cam. And then finally, when Cam wasn't getting some of the calls from the referees, right, we saw that quickly turn from 15-1 to 6-10. So, anything can really happen in this sport, and it is brutal. From year to year, there's just so much of a swing in terms of who is the king of the NFC, especially because in the AFC, you had the Patriots and Chiefs to really stabilize that conference. But the NFC especially is where we see that NFL volatility. So I'm going to go to Martin, go
I just
ahead,
have one
Ryan.
more point to add. That's regression to the mean in performances in close games is another reason I don't value the Packers as highly as Nick Wright does. They won a lot of those close games last year as well. And they, like I said, they will regress to the mean as well. And that could knock them back 3 to 4 games potentially from that alone. So another reason I'm not very high on the Packers.
I'm going to turn to Martin real quick for his quick take.
What's up?
Yeah, your thoughts on the NFC predictions.
NFC predictions. I don't think the Cowboys go 11-5 for the East. I say 8-8, regression, or I guess same thing, pretty much.
Same thing.
Pretty much. As for the Bears, there's no way they get 12 wins. Not with Mitch Trubisky. Nick Foles, no way either. He can't last the whole season. I say the Bears go 8-8 with that defense carrying them again. I think that Khalil Mack trade at the end of the day, the Raiders won. I mean, they both haven't been good.
I don't know about that.
They both haven't been good, and they're stuck with Mack's contract. As for the Raiders, they have potential to grow with the picks they drafted.
Okay,
I
that's
saw
fair.
The Bears as a Super Bowl contender last year, and that didn't happen, so I don't know. As for the Packers, I think they're the fakest team last year easily. They were not. I think the Packers go 7-9, and Aaron Rodgers demands a trade. Hot take.
Well, I'm all here for that.
Yeah, I think that I truly think that happens. The Packers are not good, and Rodgers is getting frustrated, I believe. Vikings sounds fair enough. They're a decent team.
As much as I love my Minnesota Vikings, it's fair that they could go 8-8.
Yeah, you put Martin's quarterback Derek Carr on the Vikings. I swear the Vikings go 12-4.
Yeah, this is where that Jordan meme comes in. Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, if Derek Carr is so good, why is there constant rumors that John Gruden is in love with a different quarterback that's not his current one?
But they're always proven wrong. I think
mean,
that's just the media.
Marcus Mariota's on your roster right now. Watch for a Ryan Tannehill situation.
I don't think it's as big as people put it out to be. The Mariota.
Yeah.
Because Carr has gone down before, and we had no good backup at all, and we would just lose straight up. Now with Mariota, if he ever goes out, he'll be decent.
All right, guys. Final pick to win the NFC, guys, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Ooh.
I'm going New Orleans Saints. I've been predicting it for the last 3 years, but maybe this year I'll get lucky. I'm going Saints.
All right.
I wish it was the Saints, but I think it'll be the Seahawks.
I will go with the Seahawks. Seahawks, Ravens, Super Bowl. You got two dual threat quarterbacks. The up and coming Lamar Jackson against Russell Wilson. I'm going to love it. Isaiah.
Oh,
Seahawks,
man. I know we can't be biased on this show. We have to be realistic. And I am just struggling to get the words out of my mouth. But,
Minnesota Vikings.
I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, with that offense, that electric offense, they're gonna they're going to come out of the NFC, and my San Francisco 49ers, I love them so much, but that defense won't be able to stop that Buccaneers offense.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isaiah's 42nd team. Isaiah, welcome to the bandwagon. While I'm pulling up the comedic photo I saw on Facebook earlier this week about NFL fans bandwagoning like crazy, we're going to move on to the NBA topic right now. And that is, there is a current proposal for the NBA to play out a March Madness style tournament to determine the final 2 seeds. Guys, comment down your thoughts below, because this is a very interesting concept here. Seeds 7 through 15. So the bottom 9 to 10 seeds would fight for the bottom 2 seeds within the playoffs, the 7th and 8th seeds. And then those guys would have the rights to play the top 2 seeds within the playoffs. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this? You could have a potential New York Knicks versus Golden State Warriors finals, the 2 best cities in America, ladies and gentlemen, SF and New York City.
My first thought on these playoffs is people are getting all worked up about it, saying how, oh, it's not fair to those teams that worked hard to climb up the rankings. And my response to that would be, this is for seeds 7 and 8. They don't do anything 99% of the time, so who cares? But secondly, and this ties into that point, I guess, to quote a wise man from the Batman series, The Dark Knight, I believe.
Oh, I love it.
Some men just want to watch the world burn. And that is me when it comes to this topic in the NBA. I just want pure chaos. I have missed sports so much, and I will gladly just take some wacky out there concepts to really build up some excitement. Warriors make the playoffs, get to the NBA finals. Why not?
That would be amazing.
I will just laugh all the way through. I hate the Warriors, but I would just enjoy it for the pure chaos of it.
Same.
So
All right,
I'm all
yeah,
here
go
for
ahead.
this side. I'm just saying, I'm just all here for this idea, and that's really all I have to say about it. I just want pure chaos.
Quick take on this, though. The Warriors are right now the worst team in the NBA record-wise. I know they may have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green returning fully healthy, but in this situation where you've got 3 All-Stars and a team that's building back up very quickly, would it be the wiser situation to throw your elimination game, not make it to the playoffs, and then likely land the number 1 pick and draft, say, a LaMelo Ball, as Isaiah would love, or any of the other guys who are on the top of the board?
I mean, that's the smart thing to do, and that's what they're going to do, but I can dream of just pure chaos. I mean, it's wishful thinking the Warriors would go for it. I just hope they do, just because I said, I just want pure chaos. I want some far out there stuff. I want the return of sports and the return of NBA to be grand, and the Warriors just going for it in the playoffs and getting to the finals after winning only like 15 games would be just glorious.
Okay, so guys, I found the bandwagon photo while we're here. I just wanted to bring this up to Isaiah's attention right here. Here's kind of Isaiah's progression as an NFL fan. I think this is so accurate for him. All right, 2014, I'll be fair to him. He was not a Patriots fan. He always hated Brady. 2015, Cam Newton is Superman. 2016, he totally rooted so hard for the Falcons to win the Super Bowl. He even text messaged me before that Super Bowl saying, can you please admit the Falcons as one of my teams so that I can finally have one of my teams win a championship? 2017.
And during the Super Bowl too. That Super Bowl as well.
Isaiah, you'll have your chance to respond, but I got to get through the meat of this. 2017, Isaiah made a post on my timeline. I specifically remember, and Tree, if you're watching, Tree called him out on this, but when the Jaguars were up 20-13 on the Patriots, this guy posted on my timeline, tagging 7 of my friends saying, hey, don't ever underestimate the Jags again. Brady is washed up, overrated. He is done for. 2018 to 2019, he's been a Chiefs fan since before that. He's been a Chiefs fan since they got Alex Smith. And then 2020, you've seen what he said about Brady and the Buccaneers. I'm done with this now.
My response to that is, guys, it's been a great show. I am walking off the set. Goodbye.
Wait, hold on, Isaiah. While you're there, we got to get your take on this. Oh, he walked off the set for real.
Oh,
that is pretty entertaining. But
He did not like that.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely view that the playoff situation, there is some unfairness to it, Ryan. I think the better way to do it, why not just have the 6 regular season games because I think they want to play out 7 or 8 more. And why not just have it so that the top 4 fringe teams, so the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds play for the final 2 spots. You have a little bit of a shorter tournament, and then that way you're not going to see these 15 seeds tanking. Because let's be real, man, you're the Warriors. You're really building back the team after KD left, and you don't have too much to build back in theory because you've got Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Steph, right? It's much more advantageous for teams like those to just tank and get knocked out of the tournament and get the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick. So I say 7, 8, 9, 10 would be a better system than to have the 7th through 15th seeds all compete.
I mean, I agree with that. In terms of fairness, that'd be the better thing to do. But I'm not here for fairness. I'm here for entertainment because my Cavaliers are terrible and have no shot anyways. So as an NBA fan at this point, just the most entertaining option is the option I want. And that would be the 7 through 15 seed tournaments.
All right. Isaiah, let's get your thoughts on it.
Isn't he gone?
He's back.
Yeah, I had to. You know, the producers of the show said that if I didn't come back, I would be banned for life. So I just came back.
Sure did.
Yeah, but anyways, my thoughts on this is I absolutely love it. The reason why is because you guys all know how I have a Kobe MJ type competitive nature. I'm just so fiery. I love to compete. And I love to see other teams compete. I love competition. And as I was talking to Rachel Hill about this, Rachel Hill, the Cleveland TV sports reporter who's going to join us in next week to talk about the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Ohio State. Shout out to you, Rachel, by the way. I told her that I really do think that this is a great thing for the NBA because everybody would tune in because anything can happen, man. It's a 1-game winner take all March Madness type tournament. The ball can have a weird bounce to it, or someone can have a cold night and someone can have a great night. And then you have like an upset like we do in March Madness. And another thing I really do need to address is I need to address these young teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New York Knicks, the New Orleans Pelicans, who they don't have anything to play for, right? Like you guys said, well, to all the Cavaliers executives, to the Knicks executives, to the Pelicans executives, I need you guys to listen to me right now. I think that if I'm a garbage team that is extremely young, like the Cavs, Knicks, or the Pelicans, like I said before, I would definitely play my top players instead of sitting them out and making it look like summer league. Because if you make the playoffs, even though you're most likely going to get swept by the top 2 teams in your respective conferences, your young players would get a lot of development and they would also get a lot of valuable playoff experience, which would make them a much better basketball player come next season. So I say, forget the lottery and focus on winning the tournament and make the playoffs, because in that game, winner take all tournament, anything is possible. And also, I want to quote Herm Edwards: you play to win the game. You don't lose. You don't play to lose. You play to win. So all these young teams out there, play to win the game, play all your top players, and strive to make the playoffs instead of that lottery.
Yeah, great segment, Isaiah. That's probably one of your best takes. I loved it. But I want to propose this to you guys. Can you imagine LeBron James versus the Warriors, or LeBron James versus Zion Williamson in the first round of the NBA playoffs?
I mean, that'd be fun, but I have to respond to
spectacle.
I have to respond to Isaiah's points. It was a very moving speech, and it was a great take, but I'm sorry I have to spoil Christmas for everyone. You play to win the tournaments, like you can win it all. The only thing the Cavs or Knicks would be winning would be a chance to get swept by the Bucks or the Raptors. So not a great prize at the end of it. So, I mean, all your points are true. You should play to win, but this is the NBA. Tanking is very famous and it's very popular, and it will be the same if there's a tournament. The Cavs probably won't play Colin Sexton or Tristan Thompson or Andre Drummond. Like they wouldn't want them to make the playoffs. There's no incentive to make the playoffs as an eighth seed and get swept. You miss out on lottery, and
What
you
about
miss
the
out on a chance to
financial
get better.
incentive? 2 more games at the queue.
I mean, yes,
What
there's
about
a
the
slight,
financial incentive?
there is a slight financial incentive, but does that outweigh potentially getting a top 5 draft pick who could be a future all-star? I mean, that's what teams hope for when they draft in the top 5. I
And
don't
then the
think
financial
it's worth
incentive
it.
of that. Imagine a team like Cleveland or New Orleans or Golden State getting LaMelo Ball. That would bring so much media attention and ticket sales.
I mean,
Well,
exactly.
go ahead, Ryan.
Exactly. There's also that financial incentive, like Steven brought up. And given all these points, there's no reason for a team like the Cavs and the Knicks to really try in this tournament. And if they accidentally win one game, they definitely won't win the next one. Trust me.
Okay, let's go to Martin. Martin, oh,
What's up?
you still with us? Yeah. Did you happen to win your 2K game in overtime?
Yeah, I won by 5. Barely.
Okay, so the Miami Heat are going to be moving on in the playoffs. Hopefully, in
Yep.
real life, they'll get out as well
They
in the first round. They shall. They shall. They've got a loaded team with Jimmy Butler and all that.
Yep,
Jimmy
Tyler
Buckets.
Hero. Yep.
But your thoughts on the 7-15 NBA tournament?
I
for the
want to
final
see
2
it happen
playoff seeds.
just because I want to see the Warriors win again. I'm not a Warrior fan at all, but if the Heat are not going to win the title, make the Warriors win it. I want to see the Warriors win. I want to see everybody riot.
I just want to see Zion versus LeBron in the first round.
That
or
won't happen,
as an
man.
alternative, the Warriors versus LeBron in the first round. That would be amazing.
I want to see the Warriors beat LeBron again.
Steven, you forgot it's not just Zion versus LeBron. It's Lonzo and Brandon Ingram versus their former team.
Ooh, man.
And remember,
I remember I
Lonzo
made
Ball is
that
the best player in
prediction.
the league.
I remember I made that prediction in 2018, July, that in 1 year, Lonzo would be off that team, the Lakers. And I knew it. I mean, you can't have 2 ball-dominant dudes in LeBron and Zion, and then one who's just significantly inferior in Zion or in Lonzo.
Hey, Isaiah,
What's up?
what are your thoughts on Lonzo Ball?
I am going to save it for our point guard segment. I don't want
He
to
is not a
spoil
big
it.
baller. I'll tell you guys that. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. Isaiah integrated this one. Should Stanford head coach David Shaw consider a move to the NFL?
Yeah. So David Shaw, the Stanford head coach, who has been long coveted by NFL teams because he's done a fantastic job at Stanford, last week said, I think on the Rich Eisen show, that he is shutting off the NFL. He is not going to pursue any NFL jobs. I think that David Shaw is making an enormous mistake by shutting off the NFL. I get he might be just doing the normal, typical coach speak, and I also get the fact that Stanford is his alma mater and that that's his dream job, and he's getting paid all right. But David Shaw should absolutely pursue the NFL because I really do think with the success that he currently is enjoying, he is 86-34 in 9 seasons at Stanford. He's only had 1 losing season, which was this past season. A team will give him an exorbitant amount of money and power to run their franchise. Just look at Matt Rue. The guy had 3 years of success at Baylor, and the Panthers whisked him away this past offseason and gave him a 7-year, $56 million deal, $8 million annually, and a lot of power to run their franchise. David Shaw would be insane to turn down that type of money and power down that I guarantee you a bottom barrel team such as Ryan's Cleveland Browns, sorry about that, Ryan, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Washington Redskins would throw at him. He might be making a pretty good dough at Stanford, but it can't compare to what he'll be making in the NFL. He will be making double or triple what he is making right now at Stanford in the NFL. He, his wife, and his kids, and their kids' kids will be set for life. So, yeah, he should absolutely keep his NFL options open. because he would get a lot of power, he would get a lot of money, and also I think he would have a lot of success in the NFL because if you look at the offenses that David Shaw runs at Stanford, it is an NFL pro-style offense where they run the ball, power football, smash mouth, and play great defense. I think that translates to the NFL really good. I think David Shaw is a tremendous leader. I think he's a great player development coach, and I believe that whoever hires David Shaw, they will be getting an awesome football coach.
The
And you
49ers.
say Tennessee Titans any louder. Ground and pound style, pro style offense. I love it, Isaiah. He's developed some good NFL talent in Christian McCaffrey before. And let's not forget, it's not like this
Andrew
guy's
Luck.
got and Andrew Luck. It's not like this guy has a pristine college reputation at this point. Stanford has been out of the playoff discussion in the playoff picture since 2015 fall. So it's been a long time since Stanford's really been relevant in the whole college football talk. And so, had he had a legacy like Urban Meyer or a kind of legacy like Nick Saban or Dabo Swinney, where he has a lot to lose going from college to the NFL, and then if he doesn't do so well in the NFL, I would say it'd be best for him to stay in college, right? But right now, the reputation as it is, he is not a tier 1 college coach. He's not producing the results anymore where he's contending for these conference titles or contending for these playoff spots. So right now is literally the perfect time to leave because worst case scenario, right, you do as bad as like a Brad Childress or, Gary Kubiak early on in his career in the NFL, but your college reputation is already not so great anymore. This is the perfect time to do it. I say pulls the trigger if he can get the options open and he can get the offer and he makes his money. See how he fares in the NFL.
I mean, all these are great points, and I have no doubt he would do good in the NFL, but I'm looking at it from a different angle. I'm looking at it from the perspective of the football players at Stanford's. Look, a lot of these players come from states away to go to Stanford's because they believe in David Shaw, because he is one of the best head coaches in college football. So they move away from their families to go to Stanford because he sat in their living room and he convinced them that he would be best for their future. And whenever possible, I'll always be in favor of college coaches staying because, like I said, kids leave and move away from their families to play at Stanford, and a good amount of it is due to their head coach in most cases. And yeah, for that reason alone, I'm mostly in favor of him staying in college because
All right.
athletes can't just move away. If they go to a different college because their head coach went to the NFL, they'd have to sit out a year, which I think is a little unfair. I think players should be able to get a one-time free transfer if the head coach that recruited him moved to a different school. And I know with this new system, they probably could get immediate eligibility, but it's not like a written rule, I don't believe. So, yeah, I'm all in favor of David Shaw staying at Stanford. He has done a great job there and would be a great influence for so many other football players that go through that program.
But, looking at Stanford, and I totally agree with you, to the kids, this is definitely the best move. It's very fair for the kids, right? But looking at Stanford, they have not been in contention for a college football playoff spot since our freshman year in college, Ryan, since 2015. And like right now, it doesn't seem like they're going to be trending up anytime soon. So where can David Shaw really improve his bottom line and his legacy? Because we got to talk about, him as well. If we're going to talk about the kids, where can he improve with where Stanford is going right now?
I mean, I think, as you said, Stanford isn't the best spot right now, but I say he should see it through. I mean, college athletes are told by their coaches all the time to tough it out, get through the hard times, and there'll be greener pastures at the end of it. And I think head coaches should practice what they preach. And I think he should stay because he doesn't seem like the coach to run away from a challenge. And Stanford's not in a great place right now. It's a challenge, but I have no doubt he can build that program back up. he gets a recruit like Andrew Luck or Christian McCaffrey, if he just gets that good recruiting class, Stanford could be right back to being a top 15 or top 25 team. And I actually predict this upcoming year, they will show major improvements and go like 9-3 and have a chance to contend for their division. I really think Stanford could have a turnaround.
Yeah, I think all great points. If they might be just one superstar piece away from like an 11-2 or 12-1 season. You know, we can't forget about the days with Christian McCaffrey and Andrew Luck. We'll see where this thing goes. Martin, do you have any opinions on David Shaw possibly going to the NFL?
This one I do not.
All right, well,
Yeah,
simple
wait,
enough
Steven.
then.
Steven, I got
Yeah.
something to add about David Shaw. For me, I liken David Shaw to John Beeline with Michigan. I think that he wasn't at a perennial program. Like, well, Stanford, Michigan can't really compare the two, but Michigan basketball, Stanford football, you guys get the point. But their legacies are set, and I just think he should go to the NFL, try it out to see what he can do. And if he fails, be just like John Beeline, go back to college and be the top head coach coveted by all teams that he coaches.
Yeah, and that'll wrap it up, guys, for this segment. Isaiah, go ahead and introduce our final segment of the day.
All right, guys. So we're doing a new segment here on Quarantine Chats called the Power 5 segment. Every week, we're going to be coming to you guys and we're going to be ranking our top 5 anything. Top 5 point guards, top 5 NBA, NFL quarterbacks, top 5 foods in the world, whatever. Just top 5. So this week, we're going to start our segment off by covering the top 5 point guards in today's era. Next week, we'll be doing the top 5 shooting guards, then the top 5 small forwards the week after that, then on and on and on. So the top 5 point guards in today's era, I'm going to start at number 1. Okay, I'm not going to go down to the list. I'm going to just start with number 1. I am going to go with Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors. I'm not going to get that much into detail about my first 3 because me, Ryan, and Steven's first 3 are pretty much the same. I got Stephen Curry that I told you guys all at number 1. Not much to be said for him. Just look at his resume. That's all you need to know about why he's the best point guard right now in the NBA. The guy has 3 championships, 5 NBA Finals appearances, 2 MVPs, arguably the greatest shooter in NBA history. You can make a case for Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, but all right. He's got great handles, great mid-range game. Enough said. The guy is the best point guard right now in the NBA, and he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer one day. Steven, Ryan, who are your number 1?
We're going to both go with Curry here, and I just want to add in, plus he revolutionized the game. I mean, it is talked about again and again, and for good reason, how Steph Curry really, really changed the game in the NBA to jump shooting. Charles Barkley himself said, a jump shooting team will never win a championship. Well, got him there, Steph Curry. This guy's been instrumental in the development of the league. And you see kids all around the playground who many years ago, maybe their dads or maybe themselves would say Kobe. You know, Kobe when they're shooting, and now it's Curry. So he's really changed the landscape of the NBA and just basketball in general, from literally youth basketball to organized youth basketball to college to NBA, everything. He's changed basketball at every level. And I think Steph Curry doesn't get enough credit for how well he really developed all of his other parts of the game. He's an incredible passer. Besides that behind the back pass in the 2016 finals, which every player is going to have, dings in their legacy. He is a great playmaker. He is a great passer, great distributor. And on top of that, he finishes layups under contact like no other. One thing that's not talked about enough in Steph Curry is really his ability to finish under contact. This guy has an insane layup package, both in real life and in 2K. And his mid-range is also a threat. He really can score from anywhere. This is not a Ray Allen. This is not a Danny Green. This is a guy who can do it from every single part of the floor. Maybe the only thing that he could develop more is like a Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway, which, by the way, for a 6'3" guy in the NBA, pretty damn rare. Ryan.
I mean, I am the biggest Warriors hater and Steph Curry hater Steph. I get the brothers' first names mixed up all the time. I'm the biggest Warriors hater and Curry hater on the planet, and I can't say anyone else is number one. It'd just be a crime. I hate Curry so much, but I have to appreciate what he's done, and can't say anyone else can be the best point guard in the league right now.
Yeah. Let's go to number 2.
For me, I've got Damian Lillard. Again, not much needed to be said about this guy. This guy is an absolute beast. He has some type of Kobe and Jordan in him, where he just puts his team on the shoulder and leads them to where they need to go, which is the playoffs. The guy is so clutch, hitting that step back 3 over Paul George to win that.
But it was a bad shot.
Yeah, it was a bad shot, but he made it, man. The guy's one of the best bad shot shooters of all time. He's amazing. I just got him at number 2. No more words needed to be said. If he goes to a couple of NBA finals and wins a couple of titles, wins a couple of MVPs, then you can possibly start having a discussion about him versus Curry for number 1. But he's number 2, obviously.
Plus, how ridiculous is it that Damian Lillard is not in ESPN's top 74 NBA players of all time?
Wow.
Yeah,
Of all time?
give him some more time. I think I agree with you. He should be in like the 70s right
Be
now.
at least 73 or something.
But he'll be in the top 50 by the end of his career. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm going to go with Damian Lillard at number 2. I don't have like too many strong opinions besides what Isaiah said. He's, got that killer instinct everyone loves. He's super clutch. He can really score from everywhere on the floor. That's the thing, a lot of people, they look at the three-point shooting of Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard, and Steph Curry, and they go, wow, man, I got to practice my threes. But, the big thing about these guys is that it's not the three-pointer that necessarily makes them a superstar. It's the combination of having that three-pointer with an amazing layup package. They can really finish under the heaviest of contact. I've seen these guys finish over players like Tristan Thompson, Steven Adams, who are like a foot taller than them. And that's what gets lost in the mix. These three-point shooters, while they're amazing at that, their layups are insane. And Damian Lillard is no exception. This guy is almost like a young Steph Curry who could score even better than a young Steph Curry. Ryan.
I mean, after Damian Lillard led the Trailblazers to that win over the better team, which was the Thunder, I really think the Thunder were the better overall. Seed. What was it?
Although they were a lower seed, to be fair.
Yes, but I still thought the Thunder as a team was better, but the Trailblazers had the best player in that series. Damian Lillard waved away any competition for second best point guard in my mind after that series. I mean, that was just incredible. He put up an amazing display of talent and, like you guys said, clutch killer instinct, and you have to love that. Also, he shows value when you look at the advanced statistics. He is top 10 in the entire league this year in terms of value over replacement player. VORP, I cannot say that for some reason. He's top 10 in VORP. He's top 10 in win shares per 48 minutes, box plus minus. I mean, the guy does it all. He can score anywhere, provides great value to a team, and has that killer instinct, as we saw in the Thunder series and as we've seen throughout his career. The Trailblazers aren't good this year, but that is not the fault of Damian Lillard. He is doing everything he can to drag that team into the playoffs, or try to drag his team into the playoffs.
Okay, so number 3 is going to be where Isaiah, me, and you really diverge here. And I'm going to start it off by saying, guys, be sure to vote down in the poll. Right now, we said best point guard out of these 3, because I feel like these 3 point guards get lumped together more than any other set of 3 point guards, which is Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, and Russell Westbrook. And right now we have 50% saying Damian Lillard is the best out of those 3, 33% Westbrook, and 17% Kyrie. Be sure to vote in the poll down below that I attached to this live video. But I'm going to have to start it off here and say that Russell Westbrook is higher than Kyrie Irving here. And I'm going to start off by saying that the commonality between all the players on this list is that none of them are Michael Jordan, none of them are Kareem, or none of them are LeBron James. All of these players have flawed resumes. At some point, they've had a massive choke in their career, or they've had a really, really big stain on their legacy. For Curry, it's blowing that 3-1 lead to Kyrie and LeBron James in the NBA Finals, and then recruiting KD to win back-to-back titles and having 0 Finals MVPs on top of that. For Lillard, it's an efficiency problem. For Kyrie Irving, after the amazing 2016 final series, we never really saw him take over the game the same way anymore, especially when he went off to Boston and Brooklyn. We saw him actually hurt his teams at times. And then for Westbrook, we saw him kind of pad stats, and that's where I'm going to get into these three. The reason why I'm going to have to put Russell Westbrook after Damian Lillard and ahead of Kyrie is because out of these guys, I would say no person has bounced back from adversity and just pure fan hate and tough times than Russell Westbrook. This is a guy who lost KD, put up a triple-double record-setting season, then put another triple-double season after that, then had to deal with integrating Paul George and Melo onto his team, and then had to deal with all the stat-padding hatred. Yet every single season, he turns out, puts up amazing stats, wheels his team to over 45 wins in a loaded Western Conference. The consistency with Russell Westbrook is just simply higher than it is with Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving. The only reason I'm putting Lillard over Westbrook is because of the clutch ability and because of the recent ability to generate wins. But if we're talking career, Russell Westbrook has both of these guys surpassed, no question in my mind. Ryan, you have Westbrook at 3. I want to get your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I have Westbrook at 3 because the man can do it all. He scores, although he scores inefficiently, which almost made me put him at 4, but he can rebound with the best of them. He is an amazing passer. He's good on defense. Recently, he's been kind of up and down in that department, but he can still lock up anyone when needed. So I'll still give him credit for being a good defender. And yeah, this guy's a former MVP. And I think he's a great leader. And I think he's a great teammate. I mean, he will defend his guys. I mean, you are one of his 15 closest friends if you're on his team and on the basketball courts. He has really defended his teammates in press conferences, and I love that. So yeah, all the reasons you listed plus those. I mean, the guy can just do it all. Like you said, he broke the
Next
triple-double.
question. Don't put me against my teammates. Say Russ didn't do well. Don't say the team didn't do well.
I'll say that interview is a perfect example of that. And yeah, the man can do it all. Broke the triple-double records. Averages triple-double 3 years in a row, which people say, oh, stat padding. There's a lot of people that try to stat pad, and they can't get a triple-double. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered this before, Ryan, but the common names I hear are like Giannis, LeBron. Some people say Draymond. Dude, all of those guys are too heavy and at times too lackadaisical on defense in the game to get a triple-double, man. Like, they're not going to crash the defensive boards as hard as Westbrook. In terms of endurance, they're not going to match Westbrook. In terms of pure athletic ability, Westbrook actually moves a little bit more athletically than Giannis and LeBron. None of these guys that we just listed here can average a triple-double. So stop clowning, guys. Stop hitting on Westbrook. This guy's had so many ups and downs in his careers, yet he has bounced back better than anyone on this list. So I definitely think he at least deserves to be number 3. Just doesn't have the winning credentials that Curry and Damian Lillard have.
And also,
Isaiah,
that's another. Sorry, I just had to throw in one more thing. You reminded me. Another thing I love about Westbrook is that he brings it every night and will play unless he's actually hurt. That's something you have to love in today's NBA, where load management
100%.
is all the
Absolutely
rage.
agree. All right, Isaiah, you have Kyrie ahead of Westbrook. We'd like to hear that justification.
Actually, I need to apologize to the quarantine chats fam out there. Yeah, I actually wrote it wrong when I was writing my list of top
That's
5
okay.
point guards. I had a brain fart there. I actually have Russell Westbrook at 3 instead of Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
It's basically because of the fact that you guys listed. He's a beast. He's averaged a triple-double 3 years in a row. Unfreaking believable. This guy's a great defender. He just needs to, for him to be on Curry and Lillard's level, as Steven says, he just needs that winning credential. And also, he needs to improve his shooting. His shooting has dropped down so drastically the last couple of years, and that's why I can't put him over Curry and Lillard. But other than that, yeah, that's why he's my number 3.
Sounds good. So, Martin, you've been real quiet the entire time. I would like to get your take. Do you have a top 5 list in mind?
I have a top 1.
Okay, so you got Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry. Steph Curry is easily the best point guard of our generation.
Okay, and then I just want to ask you real quickly. Yeah, definitely.
What is
he
it?
has the potential to pass Magic. We'll see. But
I think
here's
of our generation as in like the younger generation.
right, for sure. 2010s and onwards, 2000s and onwards.
Yeah.
Got it. So, my question to you is, because I put this poll out there for all the fans, who do you think is the best out of these 3? Like, what order would you rank them? Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, and Russell Westbrook.
Lillard, Kyrie, and then Westbrook.
Wow, so you got Kyrie
Disrespect.
higher
I know
than
it's always
Westbrook.
argued-
Disrespect.
I think
Ryan
it's always
is
argued
livid.
that Westbrook is a stat pattern, and because
Kyrie
I haven't
isn't.
seen him. Kyrie has team leadership issues. Let's say that.
Yeah, to say the least.
They both have their negative connotations, but
That is very true.
But what I will say about this like stat padding narrative with Westbrook against other point guards is at least Westbrook's stat padding leads to winning. Kyrie Irving's like locker room talk and just general
that's his
disregard for his
biggest issue
teammates
right now.
actually hurts his team. It's like he contributes less to winning than Westbrook again and
That's-
again. It's been
that's
proven.
why I agree with you. Leadership is a big problem for him.
Yeah, so I would
Yeah,
take Westbrook
LeBron.
as a leader 100%, stat padding or not.
Me
I don't
too.
even think I think it's overblown. I don't think it's that big of a deal. All right, at number 4, Ryan's, because me and Isaiah have already detailed why we have Westbrook 3 and Kyrie 4, but Ryan actually has Chris Paul at number 4 and Kyrie out of
Hey,
his top 5.
Paul,
Talk to me about that,
actually-
Ryan.
Ryan, before you go, I just wanted to clarify another thing. Steven, I actually don't have Kyrie at 4, but I'm going to let Ryan go first.
Oh, you really messed up your list when typing it out, but it's all good. All good.
Yeah,
It's
guys,
Memorial
Isaiah is
Day,
very,
man.
very scatterbrained.
But
Memorial
anyways,
Day.
yes, I don't have Kyrie Irving at number 4, and I don't have him in the top 4. And if we made a top 5 list, I'd be hard pressed to put him in the top 10. Or we made a top 10 list, I'd be hard pressed to put him in
Get
the
outta
top
here,
10.
man.
No, look, let's have a detailed view of Kyrie's entire career. Before LeBron James, those Cavs never sniffed the playoffs. They had the number 1 pick 3 out of 4 years for a reason with Kyrie. Well, 2 of the 3 years when Kyrie was on the roster, but either way. So he didn't do anything there. LeBron gets there, and Kyrie has a reputation for making the finals because he just rode LeBron James and had LeBron James just carry him to finals because LeBron could provide leadership and has qualities that produce wins for his teams, while Kyrie can just shoot the ball. And LeBron let him do that. LeBron let Kyrie take more shots than him, and Kyrie was still upset and said, "Oh, I can't be a team leader here, or I can't do what I want here. I have to go." When in actuality, he was taking more shots than LeBron James, the second best player of all time, in my opinion. So just ridiculous. And whenever LeBron wasn't playing for the Cavaliers, they just lost. They lost almost every game LeBron wasn't a part of. So Kyrie Irving didn't help on the Cavs. Then he leaves the Cavs and goes to Boston. Now, Boston was a very good team. They're a very deep team with tons of talent. And that team did better when Kyrie was hurt. That Celtics team
I mean,
almost
they beat Giannis and the 76ers, 2 very formidable playoff opponents.
and took LeBron James and the Cavs to 7 games without Kyrie. If they had Kyrie, the Cavs would have won in 6 games. There's just no questions in my mind because Kyrie just doesn't produce wins. And then we don't know what he's going to do in the Nets, but I have a sneaking suspicion that when
Unlike
Kevin
Nick
Durant
Mullins.
doesn't play, the Nets won't do good. So that's just a sneaking suspicion. And yeah, so what do I equate Kyrie Irving to? He is the point guard version of Devin Booker.
Or
Empty
DeMarcus
calories.
Cousins, honestly.
Just empty calories. That's all
Empty
Kyrie
calories. I
Irving
love
can
it,
do.
man.
He
I
does
love the
nothing to
empty
produce.
calories phrasing.
He does nothing to produce wins. And the guy I have it for, Chris Paul, yes, Chris Paul does produce wins. If you look at the advanced statistics, value over replacement player, VORP, I'm just going to say VORP from here on out. And yes, if you look at VORP, win shares per 48 minutes, Chris Paul is in the top 10 in all these advanced statistics. And you look at the Thunder were supposed to be a tanking team after they traded away Paul and Russell Westbrook. But because Chris Paul came in, he's not letting them tank. There are 7 seeds in the West, a very tough conference, and they're a 6 seed, I believe. And a lot of it is due to Chris Paul returning to form. He has returned to being a top 5 point guard this year. He doesn't have the greatest stat lines, but if you produce win shares like he's producing and leading a team to the playoffs that before the season was in contention to be a tanking team, I can't ignore that. I just have to give Chris Paul the respect he deserves because before the past few years, he was regarded as one of the best point guards of our generation, in contention to be the best point guard of all time about 5 years ago, and he's starting to return to that form.
All right, so Isaiah's at McDonald's, so I'm going to move on to a couple of comments about what you said. There was actually a study done on this by a famous YouTuber, and it showed that in the past decade, believe it or not, Ryan, Chris Paul has been the clutchest playoff performer, just raw numbers-wise. Been clutcher than Kawhi Leonard, been clutcher than Westbrook, been clutcher than LeBron James and Steph Curry in the playoffs.
I mean, that narrative that he can't perform in the playoffs was always false. I mean, for goodness sake, the narrative around LeBron for the longest time was he wasn't clutch when the numbers said the exact opposite. So these narratives get out there and a lot of people believe them, whether they're true or not. In the case of LeBron and Chris Paul, their clutchness or their ability to be clutch being a lacking issue for them is completely false. They are really clutch players, and I feel like you and me both have the numbers to prove it.
Yes, and I feel like in this next generation or half generation rather, the person to really fall victim to the lack of clutches narrative based on team success is none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. You look at the past couple of seasons in the playoffs, he blew a 2-0 lead against the Raptors. Didn't have too much help from George Hill and Chris Middleton in that series. Then he loses in 7 to the Celtics, who we mentioned didn't even have Kyrie in 2018. 2017, he has the potential to pull up for 3 against the Raptors in Game 6 against Rosen and Lowry, and he doesn't. And ultimately, they lose that Game 6 and get eliminated 4-2. So Giannis has really fallen victim to some tight playoff scenarios, but I'm not sure if it's a clutchness issue or if it's really a team contributing issue.
I mean,
First
that's a
of
good
all,
point.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to get onto my point, but you had something to add to Steven's point.
Oh, I was just going to agree with Steven's point. That's all.
Yeah, and finally, I want to say one last thing is, you know how in 2016, 3-1 leads were not safe, Ryan? Warriors lost a 3-1 lead. The Cavs the Indians lost a 3-1 lead. And then the Falcons blew like a 28-3 lead.
Oh, I mean, the state of Ohio benefited from the 3-1 jokes, then became the butt of the 3-1 jokes just a few months later. It was hard to process. I mean, that Indians theory still hurts me.
It's such a Cleveland thing where it's like what helps you ends up hurting you in the end.
Yeah, that is very true, unfortunately. My tears from that 3-1 blown series against the Cubs were still very real.
Yeah, sounds about right, man. But I just wanted to say that it is the case that Boston 3-2 leads are cursed, man. I'm not even talking about baseball. I haven't followed too much with Boston baseball, but the Celtics against the Lakers in 2010, they blow a 3-2 lead. Then the Celtics against Chris Bosh, Wade, and LeBron James and the Heat blow a 3-2 lead in 2012. And then Boston blows a 3-2 lead to LeBron without Kyrie against the Cavs in 2018. 3-2 leads are not safe in the city of Boston. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, my turn. Finally, man. I mean, first of all, Steven, I cannot believe the disrespect that you put towards me, man. McDonald's, dude, I was sitting here frying my head off in the Bay Area 95-degree heat. So that wasn't me. That was Trevor Lay, who had to go to McDonald's to get himself some food. But ladies and gentlemen, Ryan, Martin, Steven, are you all ready for this? I'm about to drop a bombshell on you guys and the quarantine chat's audience. Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
My number 4 point guard is, drum roll please, Lonzo Ball of the New Orleans Pelicans.
It's lagging because even the stream says it's BS. That's why it's lagging.
I mean,
Get out of
I better
here.
I better make this rant quick because I'm pretty sure Ryan just called the cops on me, and the cops are probably going to come in about 5 minutes to get me drug tested because this is probably my hottest take ever. But yes, that's right. I said it. Lonzo Ball is a top 4 point guard right now in the NBA. And ladies and gentlemen, not only do I believe that he's a top 4 point guard, I believe he's a better point guard than Kyrie Irving. The reason why is because when you search up the definition of a point guard, right now, go on Google and search up the definition of a point guard. The definition of a point guard is not only do you have to be able to score the basketball, but you have to be able to do the other things like pass the basketball, be a great leader, be a great teammate, be a floor general. You are a floor general when you are a point guard. And Lonzo Ball exhibits everything a great point guard does. You also have to be a great defender. Lonzo Ball's a great defender. He's an extraordinary passer. He makes Magic Johnson look like a scrub in that category. The guy can whip the ball in between windows to a teammate while blindfolded. That's how great of a passer Lonzo Ball is. And also, Lonzo Ball has the ability to control the tempo on the court. This guy is a beast. He might not be the best scorer in the NBA, but this guy is a winning basketball player. Also, I want to give you guys some stats. You know, my guy Ryan, he's really big into stats. I'm going to throw some stats to you as why Lonzo Ball has been a top 4 point guard. Lonzo Ball, when he was finally healthy and finally effective, starting in the month of March, before the NBA season got postponed, Lonzo Ball had 18 points. He had 19 points against the Los Angeles Lakers, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, and he followed that up that Tuesday with 26 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds against Stevens Minnesota Timberwolves, then 25 points, 6 assists, 11 rebounds, a double-double against Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, completely outplaying Luka and the Mavs, then 16 points, 8 assists, 9 rebounds against Martin's Miami Heat, and then 18 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds against Stevens Minnesota Timberwolves. Lonzo has finally figured it out. We're not talking about the past. We are talking about right now in that 5-game stretch. Lonzo Ball has been playing like a top 4 point guard. And also, like I mentioned earlier, Lonzo Ball is a winning basketball player, unlike Kyrie Irving. When Lonzo Ball came back from injury, Lonzo Ball went 22-14 and led the Pelicans, who were in the dumps in the Western Conference standings, all the way to number 9 and barely trailing the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference. When Kyrie Irving came back after the Celtics with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and the crew went to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavaliers, Kyrie came back, and guess what? The Celtics got swept. And also, he made his teammates worse. He made guys like Jason Tatum even worse. And now he goes to Brooklyn, a team that had a magical season before he came. And guess what? Kyrie comes in and completely poisons the Brooklyn Nets culture. This guy gets the coach fired. This guy alienates teammates. This guy is a toxic basketball player. If I'm a GM running an NBA franchise and I had to pick between Lonzo Ball and Kyrie Irving to build my franchise, I am picking Lonzo Ball all day, every day. This is not LeVar Ball talking. This is Isaiah Leon.
Basically the same thing.
Talking about why Lonzo Ball is a top 4 point guard in the NBA. Go ahead.
All right, Ryan, let's move on to why we think Kemba Walker is number 5.
Oh, no. I need to address Isaiah's point. Isaiah brought stats. He brought stats of a 5-game stretch. I have a 56-game stretch that I want to bring up. It's called this whole season. So let's look at this whole season. You go win shares per 48 minutes. Lonzo Ball ranks 148th. Do you know who's 2 spots above him in win shares per 48 minutes? No. Markel's Bulks.
Nope.
The bust of the 76ers.
He's better than Lonzo. That means he's not a bust anymore.
For 48 minutes. And then let's look at Borp, shall we? In Borp, bring this up right now. He ranks, internet's slightly slow. He ranks 83rd. That is below Patrick Beverly, Joe Ingles of the Utah Jazz, and Royce O'Neal of the Utah Jazz. So yeah, not particularly great in there, I should say. One would say that's not good. And then let's go to box score plus minus. He's 74th. One would say that's not great as well. But hold on, he's pretty good in one statistic, I should say. I have to give him credit where credit is due. He is very good in one statistic. In turnover percentage, he is 2nd in the league. So he's top 5 in that. So yeah, fantastic production from Lonzo Ball.
Ryan, Ben Simmons or Lonzo Ball?
Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons can at least play better defense.
Well, but Ryan,
God, that is a massive burn right there.
Ryan, you're forgetting one thing though.
That you're LeVar Ball, but Asian.
Winning basketball player, unlike Kyrie Irving.
How is he a winning basketball player? Look at his win shares for 48 minutes. That's literally the opposite of winning basketball. If you rank 148th.
The Pelicans went 22-4 and went on a massive hot streak when he came back. How do you explain that, Ryan?
Isn't that when Zion entered the scene for the Pelicans?
Yeah, that is. Martin, Ben Simmons or Lonzo Ball?
I hate Ben Simmons to Lonzo.
Oh God! All right. Anyway, let's move on to number 5. I'm done talking.
I can't
about this.
stand Ben Simmons.
I mean, no arguments from me.
Yeah. Why are you putting Kemba Walker at your 5th spot, Ryan?
Because if you look at these advanced statistics that Lonzo Ball favors very poorly in, Kemba Walker is very good. He's like top 20 in BORP, top 20 in win shares, top 20 in win share for 48 minutes, box score. I mean, Kemba Walker contributes to winning basketball. I mean, you see it this year. Kyrie Irving goes out, Kemba Walker goes in, and the Celtics are a better team despite losing Al Horford, who is another amazing player. So
I thought Golden State should have gone after Horford, actually.
I mean, that would have been a good fit for them because he can shoot threes, and they would allow him to play center, unlike the 76ers.
Plus, he's a better rebounder than KD.
It's close in that department. Al Horford's never really been known for being a fantastic rebounder, so I'd say it's close between those two.
He gave LeBron fits in that 2018 Celtics series, so I think it would have been a great pickup.
Oh, it definitely would have been. And you agree, he's a great player. The Celtics lost him, replaced him with Cantor, who is a good player, but not a great player. But they also add Walker, and this team is humming. This team is doing extraordinarily well because they got a point guard that contributes to winning basketball. He can score, he can pass. Not the best defender, but he's not a liability in that department. So, yeah, I'm going Kemba Walker due to his leadership, scoring ability, and just contributing to winning basketball, as we can see by these more advanced statistics.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Kemba Walker, and I wish I could go on my whole spiel, but we got to save some time here. And I'm just going to say I'm so happy for Kemba Walker to, escape the situation in Charlotte where, he arguably was deserving of that supermax contract, ultimately didn't get it. And he goes to Boston and ends up finally in a winning situation. And now we see the full potential of Kemba Walker. This guy on Boston has been more special than IT was, more special than Kyrie Irving ever was in just his first year with the Boston Celtics. New system, new everything, but Brad Stevens and him, it's just a perfect fit. And I can't help but wish more and more for Kemba Walker, even though Martin is absolutely roasting that team in NBA 2K20.
Facts.
Facts from Martin. All right, let's go to Isaiah, your number 5 point guard.
Yeah, so I had a really big debate today whether about Kyrie or Kemba, and it was just really hard. But I decided to go with Kyrie simply because he's the more explosive basketball player. He's got way better handles than Kemba. I mean, I like Kemba, but in terms of Kyrie's the flashiness, and Kemba's like the tame basketball player. You know what you're gonna get from him, but for Kyrie, it's like the wow factor. This guy's a pretty good shooter from three. This guy, he can pass the ball, but all I'll say is he's just the better flashy player. That's all I'll say.
Okay, no arguments with that. Martin in our DMs actually says John Wall is number 5. I'd love to hear that one.
5 years ago he was. Not anymore, man.
All right,
Hold
Ryan.
on, Isaiah.
He's been injured for so long now.
Yeah, makes sense.
But no, Isaiah, you just went on like a 10-minute rant about how Kyrie Irving's not good for a team, and if you were a GM, you wouldn't build around him, and yet you rank him number 5. Look, Isaiah, just join our side. Join the Kemba Walker side at number 5. You know you want to.
Yeah, I want to.
He contributes more to winning basketball. You said yourself, Kyrie Irving is just a distraction in the locker room and doesn't have great leadership abilities. And Kemba Walker went to his former team and is doing better than Kyrie, despite the Celtics being a worse team around him than they had with Kyrie due to Al Horford leaving.
But his list is already so scrambled as it is. He's got like his 3, 4, 5 all mixed up.
But he can save it
literally
by
the past 10 minutes.
He can save it by converting to the Kemba Walker at number 5 side. Join the lights.
All right. Last part of the show. Will you join the light, Isaiah?
It's Curry, Lillard, Westbrook, and then Lonzo Ball, and then it's all the way down, and then you have 5. Like you have a big gap in between.
All right, but who are you gonna go with, Kyrie or Kemba?
I'm gonna stick with Kyrie, but I still think Lonzo's a way better basketball player.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for us for this show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Before we leave, though, Ryan, you had one response where you got cut off about Boston and just not being safe with the 3-2 leads, blowing it to the Lakers, blowing it to the Heat and the Cavs within the same decade.
I mean, I was just gonna say that yes, that's pretty bad, but it's a 3-2 lead. It's not like those are insurmountable. It's not that bad a lead to blow, in my opinion.
But man, when you do it again and again and again, it's tough. Anyway, guys, that's
Steven,
gonna wrap it up.
Last thing. Yeah, guys. Well, it's officially here. Tune in on Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time for the greatest episode in Quarantine Chats and Fan Responses history. We are going to have USA Today NBA columnist Mark Medina join the show to talk all things NBA. This guy covered the Kobe and Gasol Lakers championship winning team, the KD, Curry, Clay, Draymond Warriors championship winning teams. This guy has been around winners, unlike Ryan's Cleveland Browns. Sorry about that.
And
But
the Vikings.
All good.
Mark Medina is going to be joining us to talk all things NBA. I cannot wait. It's going to be our best episode ever. And make sure you, on that day, I want y'all to share this episode everywhere. Tell your family to share it. Tell your family friends to share it. Tell their friends to share it. Tell everybody to share it. Share it on all your Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, everything. Share, share, share. Share it on WeChat as well and WhatsApp for all you people that are watching on China.
All right. Thank you so much, Isaiah, for that fantastic outro. I want to thank Trevor and Martin for making an appearance today. You guys were excellent. As always, Ryan, always amazing having you as a co-host. And you too, Isaiah. You're the big draw for our special guest.
Mark Medina, Friday. Tune in.
All right, guys. Tune in Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. East time. You won't want to miss it. Mark Medina is coming on, NBA reporter for the Lakers, Warriors, all these amazing teams. We're going to leave you guys out with some high hopes.
Have a good night, y'all. Have a safe Memorial Day, y'all.
Yep.
Happy Memorial Day
guys.
to everyone.
Mama said, fulfill the prophecy, be something great. Go make a legacy, manifest destiny. Back in the days, we wanted everything, wanted everything.